in a great way?
Yeah, I think we have of startups that Sign was set up in 2004, and we have invested close to, not invested, supported close to 200 startups. Not close to, 204 startups till date. Uh, if you look at the history of companies, how they have scaled up, and a lot of companies which are successful now, I don't want to name those companies, but they have pivoted many times because they have not got, maybe the market was not right for them, right, or they were not able to convince the investor the business was good, and they have some close to 6 to 7 years they have just managed with their existing operation without, they have been growing and not much of a kind of a scale if you look at. But when the market was right and it was, I can name one of the company, which started off in 2000, before 2004 onwards. They started with conversational platform for enterprises. As I understand, they pivoted many times because I was not there inside at that point of time. But when I look back, now they are a unicorn. But during the early 6 to 7 years, they were still, trying to understand the market. They were ahead for the market. So when they kind of try and pitch a solution to the customer is not able to understand what they're trying to kind of tell them in terms of the product offering. But when the internet wave and everything, digitization picked up, customers understood the requirement of their solution. And then it just scaled up. I think it's now 1,000 crore with operation in India and US. And similarly, there are also other companies like IdeaForge, which was the first one to develop drone. They have been here for last 15 years. Now the market is ready for them, and now everybody is talking about the defense segment is talking about drone. Drone is a new weapon now, right? They survived. They did the same thing because they really believed in what they were doing. They were very clear in terms of the product, in terms of the offering, right? And they believe they were right. Obviously, they were waiting for the market to kind of accept the product, and they managed it with a frugal kind of capital they had. They used to do projects, and projects is to fund their requirement till they received funding, external funding, and once the market became ready, and more investors are now coming in. So, in a nutshell, if you know you are doing something right and you are ahead of the market, stick to that. Obviously, market will catch up with you, and especially in high-tech companies, high-tech startups, that's the case because you are developing something very, very futuristic. And I have one of my incubating companies here. Sai is there. He's doing something very brilliant, right? Something very kind of path-breaking. But it requires, the market needs to kind of really understand that, need to certify it, right? Validation is required, 3 or 4 validation with the customers is required. It takes time. I don't know whether I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we'll move on to the other angle, the investing angle. We have a seasoned investor with us, Mr. Jain. Sir, if the startups are so risky and the environment is also not right now entirely, um, so why should one invest in startups? Because there's always a risk of your investment going down. How does it work? Please explain.
As you correctly said, startup is definitely a risky asset class, but maybe a small pie of your surplus can be invested in it. So, like typically there are 3 to 4, 5 asset class, right from your real estate to your bullion to your equity. Equity, when I say equity, mutual funds. So people generally do invest in all these asset class. Once one is done with this asset class, then one can start investing in the startup. So typically, 2 points I'll address to this: when one should come and how much should one invest. Maybe a couple of years back, I would have answered it differently because that time maybe in the market the minimum ticket size was higher. But today, when I say about couple of years back, it was normally 5 lakhs per company, where one would have got a chance. But maybe last year onwards, it has one can invest even with 2 lakhs per company, and there are some platform where you can invest in as low as 10,000 rupees per company. So, coming back to your question, ideally, once you have your first home is planned, and you have got some emergency fund, once you have got a basic necessity covered, and then you should start investing into this asset class. And second point, how much one should start, maybe about 5 to 10% of your surplus over a period of 2 to 3 years. But you should have a portfolio approach, and ideally invest at least in 15 to 20 companies in 2 to 3 years. Then definitely you will not go wrong in this. Provided, again, there are different platforms. So on which platform and how you're doing, that's a different point again altogether. But if you have 15 to 20 companies in 2 to 3 years time, there is very high chance that you will not go wrong and you will make money only. How much? It could be 1x, 2x, 5x, that's secondary.
So why don't you elaborate on that point, through which platform to invest? Because stock markets is easier. You open a demat account with a broker. How does one invest? These days there are some platforms like Tyke and others. So,
Yeah. When I said Tyke, that was the 10,000 rupees. I have also invested in Tyke. And since you have just mentioned, let me share that I invested at 10 million valuation. And yeah, it raised money at 50 million in a span of 4 months' time. So, and my daughter is also investing on the Tyke platform. So, coming back, since you just mentioned Tyke, so in Tyke, you can invest as low as 10,000 rupees also per company. Coming back to platform like there are angel funds, there are two options. Either you can choose individual companies which can come direct through your own contacts, connects, whatever, from your resources, or you can choose any angel like the Mumbai Angel, Chennai Angels, 100x. We are also one of the networks like Venture Catalyst and so on. And another option is a fund. So the pros and cons in individual companies when you get to choose on the platform. So you need to attend the presentation, go to the pitch, and you have a chance to ask the queries, and then if you're satisfied, you can invest, and you can invest up to whatever amount you want. You can increase the amount also, or whatever. But you need to devote some time to understand, go through the same, and with application of mind and so on. As compared to other options where you can invest via a fund, AIF fund, but the year the ticket size is higher. It's regulated by SEBI, so 100 lakhs is the minimum amount. Obviously, then you don't need to pay the entire amount upfront. There's a drawdown maybe, so which need to be paid at one go in over a period of 3 to 5 years time. So this is it is like a equity versus a PMS. So similar way, individual companies via on these AIF platform where like example we are running 4 funds, so one of the fund is closed. So these are the 2 options where you can invest from.
Very important and critical thing is a very liquid stock. So you'll have to be very, very careful if you are investing, because if you want to liquidate it, it's difficult.
Yeah, let me add that when you are investing into this asset class, what Shaji correctly said, I missed out on this liquidity point. You need to have a time horizon of at least 3 to 5 years time, and ये वो पैसा होना चाहिए which will not impact your day-to-day lifestyle, and where there's a risk you can afford to even lose that money. With this mindset, you should enter it.
Okay, so I actually forgot to ask a very important question. I just want to go back to the earlier topic, both of you. So, during difficult times, so let's say not environment specific, let's say your company specifically is facing a tough time, not able to scale up, or any other issue going on. Then how do you face the investors? How do you convince them? And also, how do you communicate to your workforce, because holding them is also a very challenging task.
Yeah, I think in the startup journey, I think every startup faces this at certain point, जहाँ पे they face this maybe because of external. अभी तो this is an external environment, but there are going to be some internal issues also. जिसके कारण they always face these challenges where they have to take some hard calls. be it on the market they are into, the people they have, right? The main idea कि इन सबसे कैसे या उस टाइम पे इन्वेस्टर से भी कैसे बात करनी है, right? Your existing investor will be there and you will be pitching to new investors also, right? What is going to be the story? Now, what we have seen working for us is being transparent, right? So if you're extremely transparent to your investors that what is going on, right? What are the actions you are taking? Because ये तो सबके साथ आ सकता है, but what are you standing in that time और आप क्या कर रहे हो? And how you are communicating, how transparent you are? आप उनको बता ही नहीं रहे हो कि क्या चल रहा है? Is a very ये problematic situation है. And even with the employees, we have seen the organization which are transparent enough to share क्या conditions क्या चल रही हैं, have higher chance of people trusting the organization, and even अगर उनके ऊपर भी वो issue आता है, they are happy to be in organization जो उनको पता था कि ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है, right? So we have seen in our case also when we had taken some cost cuttings in terms of the salary cuts during COVID. In this period also there is some cost cutting which has happened, but we have been extremely transparent on what is the situation, how as a company we are trying to survive so that जो हमारा larger force है, right? Be it a stores जहाँ पे a lot of like 1,000 of families are there, how we are working for them, and if there is something which we have to sacrifice, how we are sacrificing and why we are sacrificing, what has gone wrong, what we are doing to build it, and how we can again become partner with the employees अगर उनमें से किसी कोई गए हैं तो this is how we have been able to do. There are certain things जो ऐसी चीज़ें होती हैं जहाँ पे शायद आपने and this mainly comes through people, right? इसके अलावा तो सब जगह जो cost cutting हो रही है is all okay. When it comes to people, it becomes very very sensitive. So you have to very mindful कि जिनको भी आपने initially भी लिया है उनको किस role के लिए लिया है, and क्या वो role obsolete हो रहा है या person सही नहीं है. अगर person सही नहीं है तो we have not been very candid enough past में कि हमने बताया उसको जाने के लिए. So we have to take that call now. And if the role is getting obsolete, we really find कि ये कोई दूसरा role है जिसमें person fit हो सकता है, right? So in our case, there were a lot of people. हमने central team बनाई थी जहाँ पे बहुत सारे pharmacists थे, and we were trying to do certain initiatives. But as soon as we realized that we are not going to get the fruits of that initiative, we again transferred those people to the store.